Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school, so you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Jerika. Welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be another story time video, and this video is going to be on starting my period in the 6th grade. I know it's like a weird topic, but you know, I've actually seen other weird topics for YouTube videos, so I'm just like, you know, why not join the club of weird topics? But anyway, so this is, I don't know like what the average age is to start your period, but I felt like being in 6th grade is too young to be starting your period, even though that's when like 5th, 6th grade is when they really start telling you about, you know, when you start having those adult living classes where you talk about your menstruation and you talk about erections and all this other kind of unnecessary stuff that, I mean, I know they gotta explain it to us, but just the fact that they gotta tell you about this stuff in 6th grade, it's kind of like, I'm just too young for this. I'm not ready for this. There's no way we should be talking about sex. But these days, you should be talking about sex in 5th, 6th grade because kids are having sex super early. I personally was not even thinking about sex when I was 11. But these days, with the way this generation is coming up, you just never know. But anyway, so, you know, 5th, 6th grade is when you really start learning about this kind of stuff. But I'm just thinking, you know, oh, doesn't really matter. I'm not paying attention, but it's not going to affect me. I'm not going to start my period anytime soon. So I'm just going to watch and learn what I can learn and call it a day. But I remember this day like it happened literally yesterday. Like I remember every single detail about this day. I remember how my hair was. I remember what outfit I had on. Everything. So this day, I think it was either, I think it was like the end of the week. It was either Thursday or Friday. And I had on a maroon shirt and I had on corduroy pants. Now everyone knows back in the 90s, in the early 2000s, you know, if you grew up in the 90s that your parents put you in corduroy. My parents kept us in corduroy pants, especially like in the colder months, and this happened in March. So I had on my maroon corduroy pants. Thank the Lord that they put me in those maroon corduroy pants. But anyway, so I had on my whole maroon outfit. I was good, but before lunch I remember feeling like this dripping feeling, and I'm like, it felt like I was peeing on myself, and I was like, it was just like a drip. I know that this is gonna be TMI, so I know it just felt like a small drip, and I'm like, something went off in my mind. I'm like, okay, why am I feeling this drip? I didn't think anything of it. I'm just like, whatever. So I went to lunch, you know, didn't feel the drip for a couple more hours, and then all of a sudden it was around like 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I felt this gush. Like, now this time it's like, you know how when you laugh sometimes more comes out. But anyway, we were doing a group project. It was a group of 4 of us, and I was in a group full of guys, unfortunately, so they would have never understood. And I remember being in this group working on this project with all of our desks sitting together and everything, and I laughed and I felt this gush, and I'm like, do I have a problem? I'm like, am I all of a sudden peeing on myself? Because I've never peed on myself, like maybe once growing up, but I'm like, why am I peeing on myself during the day and not knowing that I'm peeing on myself? Like, I'm not forcing this out. So I'm like, why am I peeing on myself? Like, what is wrong with me? Something is wrong with me. So I went to my teacher and I'm like, can I be excused? I really have to go to the bathroom. And you know, when you're at elementary school, they kind of frown upon you leaving the classroom by yourself. But I'm like, you know, I was a really good student. So my teacher was like, you know, if you're asking to go to the bathroom, you obviously really need to go, especially since you just had lunch like an hour ago. So I'm like, you know, I really have to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom thinking that I just had to pee, you know, oh, it's nothing, just a regular bathroom break. But I pulled down my pants and my underwear was soaked. And I was like, I remember my heart just breaking. I remember my heart just dropping into my stomach. The first thing I did when I saw it was like, that was the first thing I said. And my twin sister, you know, they never put twins or siblings in the same class. So she was in a class across the hall from me. She didn't even know any of this was going on. Like, she had no idea. So I sat in the bathroom for like literally 30 minutes. And I'm like, what the heck am I supposed to do? My underwear is bloody. Thank God I had on maroon corduroy pants, so like no one noticed. But yeah, it was so embarrassing, and I remember just sitting in that bathroom stall for the longest time, like, what am I supposed to do with this underwear? It's freaking soaked. I don't have any pads because, like I said, I was not expecting to even start this early in life. So I'm like, I didn't have any pads with me, didn't have any change of underwear, because you girls know, like, once you start your period and you know it's around that time of your monthly period, you start carrying pads and tampons early just in case. But you know, your first time, you don't know when it's gonna happen. I didn't have any of the crampy symptoms that I get now. You know, before I start my period, I know it's coming because I get these pains. But when you first start, you don't get any of that. You don't get any PMS. Like, you don't get any of that. It just literally just starts out of nowhere. So I didn't know. I wasn't expecting it, so I didn't have anything with me. So I remember just trying to wipe it out of my underwear as much as possible. And I remember taking like almost a whole roll of toilet paper and just rolling it up into like the thickest wad of toilet paper and sticking it in my underwear. And I remember like walking back to my classroom extremely funny, because now that I know this blood is here, I cannot walk the same. Like, it just doesn't feel right anymore. So I tell my teacher, I'm like, I started my period, and I'm like, she was my favorite teacher. She was one of my favorite teachers, and she was like, she started smiling and stuff, and I'm like, this is not funny. Like, this is not something that I want in life. Like, why are you excited and happy? She was like, oh yeah, you're a woman now. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, can we go to the nurse's office? I was like, my life is over. My life is over. Like, the guys were so totally oblivious to anything that was happening. Thank the Lord that I was in a group full of guys, because they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what I was doing. They didn't know anything about periods, so they had no idea. So I got my things. I'm like, you know, I'm going home. I don't feel well. They were just like, okay, well, we hope you feel better. Like, they didn't even think twice about it. So I went to the nurse's office. The nurse was also someone that was really nice and that I talked to all the time, but she was super excited, and the first thing she did was give me a pad, and I'm like, thank God. So she was like, well, go ahead and call your mom, she can come get you. And I remember calling my mom, and I was like, Mom, you know, we never call our parents. Like, if you're at school and you're being called by your school, your parents think you're either getting suspended or you're in trouble. My parents wouldn't think that, because, you know, we never get in trouble at school. So my mom was like, uh-oh, what's wrong? Like, she answered the phone like, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? And I was like, I started my period. And she was like, what? It was so funny. I still remember her voice in my head. She was like, what? And she just started laughing. And I'm like, can you come get me? That's all I remember asking, like, can you come get me? Like, I cannot. Because at first they were like, she was like, you want me to bring you some underwear? And I'm like, I just want to go home. I don't feel comfortable anymore. I just want to go home. So she came and got me, and I remember leaving school early. I didn't even get a chance to tell my sister why I'm leaving early, so my sister's probably looking for me at this point. And I remember going home, you know, washing up and putting on my mom's huge pads, because like I said, I didn't have any pads because I wasn't expecting this. And you know, those old school pads are like super thick. It's like wearing a diaper. I had to wear one of those until I was able to go to Walmart and get the ultra thin pads with wings. So that's what I did, and it was just absolutely uncomfortable. It was like sitting on a ton of blankets and just having on a Depends diaper. Like, you just sit down and the diaper is sitting on your chair instead of you sitting on a chair. And I'm like, I cannot wear these thick pads. I don't know how you've worn these thick pads all these years, but I can't do this. Like, this is just too much. And it got to the point where I would be so sick and so crippled on my period. Like, I remember I was watching a That's So Raven episode, and they showed this cow. It was an episode where they were at this cow ranch or something, and it was a bunch of mud and pigs and cows. And I remember seeing this stuff and immediately running to the bathroom and throwing up. Like, that, I used to be so sick on my period. Thank God I did not deal with that anymore. Like, my period is a breeze now as far as flow. I do still have times where I'm crippled and in the bed, but it's not heavy, and I just like, thank you Jesus that my period is no longer heavy. I could not deal with that, what I used to go through back then. Now I'm just so glad it's over. So I know this video was kind of TMI, but you know, if you're a woman, all of us have had that moment where we first started our periods. It was absolutely terrible. You know, it was just bad. Like, there's just no happy story of starting your period, and I hated it. And I just wish that periods were something that women didn't have to go through. Like, I mean, childbirth is enough for 1 lifetime or 2 lifetimes, 3, however many kids you decide to have in life. Childbirth alone is enough. Why do we got to go through a monthly period and pain every single month? Like, I don't understand. But But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I remember it like it was yesterday, and I just wanted to do a video on it. I think I saw someone else that did a video on starting their period, and that's what inspired me to do this video. I don't know that YouTuber because it was a random YouTuber. But anyway, I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, I hope you guys thumbs up and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and on Snapchat. But I thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good day.